Assalamu alaikum, my family. I hope you all are fine, enjoying good health. So today's session is all about, reading the extract and then answer the questions that follow it. So we will be learning how to read the extract and how to attempt explicit and implicit questions. We have done this question for us already, explicit and implicit, but we're going to do it today and I'll help you out in it. So I would want you to please start reading it louder from the beginning here. Can you see my screen? Am I presenting it?
Yes.
Okay, so please start it. When the Titanic was launched.
Okay. When the Titanic was launched, it was the largest passenger ship in the world. On its first voyage in 1912, on its way from Southampton in the UK to New York in the US, the Titanic hit an iceberg and sank. More than 1,500 people died. In this extract, the writer describes his experience on board the Titanic. This
Mm.
part of his account describes the moment the ship hit the iceberg.
Okay, so we all are aware about, this whole scenario
Um,
of Titanic.
we
Okay, now read the extract.
not reducing speed at all, in spite of the meanings of the presence of ice, which had come in from other ships during the afternoon and evening. We were out for a record run. I had Google Night to my father and mother in the next room. In order to get plenty of air, I had half opened the part, and the bronze was coming through with a quiet humming whistle. There was the steady rhythmic. Miss,
Mhm.
can you
Yes.
like make the slide bigger because it's a
Okay.
bit blurry?
Okay, now is it fine?
Yes. Uh, of the engines and screws, the feel and heaving of which becomes second nature to one. After a few hours at sea, it was a five night for sleeping, and with the day's air and exercise, I was sleeping. I warned my watch. It was 11:45 p.m. and was just about to step into bed when I seemed to sway slightly. I immediately realized that the ship had veered to port, as though she had been gently pushed. If I had had a brimful glass of water in my hand, not a drop would have been slipped. The shock was so slight. Almost instantaneously, the engine stopped. The sudden quiet was starting and disturbing, like the subdued quiet in a sleeping car. At a stop after a continuous run, not a sound except the breeze whistling through the half-open part. Then there was the distant noise of running feet and muffled voices as several people hurried through the passageway. Very shortly, the engine started up again, slowly, not with the bright vibration to which we were
Accustomed.
uh, accu-
Accustomed.
accustomed, but as though they were tired. After very few revolutions, they again stopped. I hurried into my heavy overcoat and drew on my slippers, all excited but not thinking anything serious had occurred. I called in to my father and mother that I was going up on deck to see the fun. Father said he would put on his clothes and come right up and join me. It was bitterly cold.
Cold. Okay, fine. So they have, explained the whole scenario that what happened, each and everything. What is this about? What is this text about? Can you tell me?
that there was a ship.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was like it was going very fast. It wasn't reducing speed.
Okay.
Um,
And there was a
and
round window in the ship's cabin. They talked about weird to port, which means that it suddenly turned to the left.
yes,
Okay.
uh,
They're
I
actually
think it.
explaining the whole scenario of the inside of the ship, what happened, how it moved, how it happened, and what the characters were actually doing in that. So it's just like an extract from referring to Titanic. This is an extract. Okay, so I would request you to first write down these key vocabulary words on your notebook. So we will be revising them, which you should know all these three. First, please write them down on your notebook. Port. What is the meaning of port? It's a round window in a ship's cabin. A porthole is a round window in a ship's cabin. First, write down on the top. On the top, write down section 5 assessment and then start writing this key vocabulary. You have to start writing the key vocabulary. Port means a round window in a ship's cabin. What does port means, Faris? Will you please repeat it?
A round window in a ship's cabin.
Okay, so if I'll ask you about port once again, will you be able to tell me?
Yes.
Because you need to learn it. It should be on your tippings, right? Moving on to weird to port, please just write it down. Second one, because it's all about words, meanings. We should know the key vocabulary. The second one is weird to port, which is suddenly turned to the left. Something which weird to port, like my car, weird to port. My car suddenly turned to the left. The ship veered to port. It suddenly turned to the left. So I will ask you to make sentences from these words and use them in sentences of your own afterwards. Then we'll be moving towards the questions. Okay, wrote the second one, weird to port.
Yes.
What is the meaning of weird to port?
Suddenly turned to the left.
If I'll ask you to make any sentence verbally with the word weird to port with a phrase, how will you construct a new sentence?
Um, the ship
Hmm.
uh, veered to port.
The ship suddenly veered to port, or maybe the train veered to port out of the blue, maybe. So anything, you can use this phrase anywhere. The car, you can use it with any vehicle. Okay, so sleeping car. The next is sleeping car, which means a train carriage with the beds for long overnight journeys. So sleeping car could be a ship, could be a train. It's like a train carriage with beds. Write down the meaning of this one. Okay, done. Shall we move on to the
Yes.
questions? Okay, now moving on towards the question activity one reading, we'll be doing this because this is what they have asked us to do. Look carefully at the first paragraph, the extract on page number 26. Was the ship traveling quickly or slowly? Write down one word or phrase that supports your answer. Now we will be doing this first question. Now we will be looking at the extract of the first, paragraph on page number 26. This is the page number 26. We know this, and we are looking at the first paragraph of it. Now they're asking us to give us just one word or phrase which shows that was the ship traveling quickly or slowly.
Reducing.
Mhm. So,
Uh, that
was the ship
not reducing.
moving quickly or slowly? First, give me the answer of this one.
It was quickly.
Quickly. First one will be quickly. So, which are those words which telling us that that it was not reducing speed at all?
Not reducing and speed.
And not reducing speed is the first phrase, and another phrase is going to be steaming along. Steaming along also means this one. Steaming along phrase shows that it was moving very fast. at a rapid feast rapid speed, right? So these are the two phrases for us. You want me to take a screenshot and write the answers for you, or you can write them?
Um,
Shall
okay,
I
I
write
can
the
write
answer?
it.
Okay, and wait, let me just show you. Let me take a screenshot. I'll write the first answer for you, and you can get a better idea through it. You will be writing the answer of this question like this. You will be first, writing question number one, and then you will be writing the answer like this. That just directly you will be writing quickly. You will be directly writing quickly because the ship traveling quickly, right? We know that. And the which words were showing, which word or phrase was showing that? The first phrase is steaming along, steaming along, which shows that this ship was traveling quickly. And also the next phrase was not reducing, not reducing reducing speed at all. Okay, so I would want you to please write it in neat handwriting, the first one. Okay, moving on to the question number two. Is this one question number one done?
Yes.
Okay, move on to the question number two. On line one, the writer says there had been many warnings of the presence of ice. Why do you think the writer begins his account with this information? Many warnings of the presence of ice.
Um,
Yes.
maybe because that if the ship moves quickly, that there's like a big ice or ice age that the ship might crash into.
Exactly. So maybe he's, predicting something.
Yes.
So you can write the answer. I'm just helping you out in the second one. Rest I want you to do by your own, but I need to help you because I want the best answer because this is the school work we're doing. I think you will be writing like this. I think the writer begins begins his account with this information to foreshadow future events. To foreshadow future events because he's actually predicting the future events. He wants to, you can also write like this, he wants to actually predicts what's going to happen, right? This is going to be the detailed answer of question number two, right, Faris? Okay, moving on to question number three. Are you
Yes.
done writing?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to the question number three, look carefully at lines 15 to 19. Now we have two parts of it for us. Write down two things from these lines that suggest something wrong with the ship.
Miss,
Okay,
your
right. Yes,
voice is loud.
yes, yes, yes. Write down two things from these lines that suggest something wrong with the ship. So it's just an explicit question where we directly need to write down from lines number 15 to 19. So we are having these
19.
here. Here are the 15 to line 19 lines. So we will be writing that the ship maybe the two things is the first thing is suggest something wrong with the ship. What happened wrong with the ship? How can we identify? So from this phrase we can get an idea that I think the ship had veered to port, which shows that the engine stopped. The first one is the ship had veered to port, and the second one is
The engine stopped.
All right. So these are the two possible answers. The ship had veered to port, and then second one is going to be the engines stopped. Okay. So this is you're gonna write it for 3A. The ship had veered to port is the first wrong thing happened. Second is the engine stopped. You're gonna write it in the form of numbers. Now tell me the answer of B part by your own self. Which words in this part of the extract shows this most effectively? Write one or two sentences explaining your ideas.
Um, I don't understand this question.
Basically, which words in this part of the extract show this most effectively that what happened with the ship? Something wrong, happened with the ship. Write one or two sentences explaining it. We're not going to write one or two sentences. We can also extract the word. So if you
That
carry
the
forward.
ship,
Hmm. So if you carry forward after engine stopped, what was that phrase? What was that word? Something which shows, something astonished and disturbing happened.
um, is the sleeping car.
No, it was this word sudden quiet. Okay, first let me just write down the answer for the audiences who are watching us. For 3A, I hope you have written the same one. What was the answer you've written for 3A? The ship?
The ship had veered to port.
Okay, so this is the first, and the second one you have wrote. You've written this one. The engine stopped possibly. The engines stopped, right? Okay, moving on to this B part. You said that you don't know. So we will be writing here. Let me explain you. I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so B, the words, you will be writing like this. The words, sudden quiet. Sudden quiet is a phrase which shows something astonished, something disturbing has happened. Suggest that the quiet was unexpected and out of the ordinary. Okay, and out of the
Okay.
ordinary, right? So this only phrase, explains us this thing. This is the only phrase which shows this thing. All right, moving on to the next questions.
Okay.
I'm sure you have written this question 3A and B part. You done with it? Shall we move
Yes.
to the next part? Okay, so I'm going to screen share once again because we are left with no space here on the sniping tool. So I will be, taking the screenshots of it once again. Keep that in front of you, and we will be writing the answers directly. Okay. So now we are done with question 1, 2, and 3. We'll be moving on question number 4. So look carefully at lines 20 to 22. At this point, the writer did not realize that the ship had hit an iceberg. Okay, so clearly understand the keywords. He has not realized that the ship had hit an iceberg. How does the writer show he did not realize this? Write down one piece of evidence. You need to just write one example or evidence which support your answer. How does the writer show he did not realize?
Um, Muffled voice
Hmm.
or running feet.
Sorry.
That it said that there was the distant noise. No. So,
Hmm. Okay, so you can refer to line number 25 to 28 to answer the question before if you're using, the first edition of the student book. You should refer to lines number
okay.
25 to 28. You will get your answer. Because, sometimes this is in the older edition, they are saying that in line number 20 to 22. But you can also get the answer from line number 25 to 28. See that if you have the answer there. Somewhere where he has used the words, excited, something like that. He was describing himself.
Yeah, it said I heard into my heavy
Mm-hmm.
overcoat and drew on my slippers.
Okay, it means that he was excited but not thinking anything serious had occurred. So you will
Yes.
be, yes, exactly. So you will be writing exactly this thing that you are going to, answer your question in a proper manner by starting it in a proper way. The writer, okay, just let me erase this line here. Okay. You will write like this. Let me just tell you the structure, how we need to structure our answers. Okay. Year seven, it's not that easy, but it's not even difficult, but I'm just guiding you the ways how to structure your answer. So this is the way to structure your answer. Learn it carefully, but the next time I want you to, show your input maximum. The writer
Okay.
shows he did not realize, right? He did not realize, because this is I'm extracting from the question. Realize the ship had hit an iceberg by, what are those words which should, by describing himself. You will be writing like this. Okay, let me just write in a clear writing, because joining handwriting would be difficult for you to understand. So it's going to be by describing himself, okay, as, what were those lines? The lines are, let me change my pen and then you'll better understand it. Those lines are excited, comma, but not thinking anything serious had occurred. Anything serious had occurred. Okay. So this is the way, Faris, we need to structure our answers. This is the possible, appropriate manner we need to write the answer to get good grades, right? This is a part. We're done with it. This is the one piece of advice which shows this one. Okay, now for B. Are you done with the 4A part?
Yes.
Okay. Now, moving on to the 4B, if you could just please just give a try and give me the answer. Read out the question, please, louder.
Okay. How do you, as a reader, respond to this part of the account? Why do you respond in this way? Write one or two sentences explaining your ideas.
Okay, so now these are, the two parts of the questions. How do you as a reader respond to this part of the account? First part. And why? How and why? This is implicit. Why do you respond in this way? Now, this is explicit. Write one or two sentences explaining your ideas. Of course, we will be writing one or two sentences by explaining our ideas. But why do you respond in this way? I have responded in this way. Why do you told it? Because I feel.
Um, because as a reader, I feel that the writer of the ship
Hmm.
had not felt anything because he said in the passage that he felt excited.
And
Uh,
yes, as the reader, you have to write like this, that as the reader, as the reader knows more about what is going to happen than the person who is responding to events. As the reader, I know more about what is going to happen than the person who is responding to events. It is also sad as it shows the naivety and optimism of the crew and passengers, but you are going to explain your way, that you have responded this way because as a reader you know more about what is going to happen next, right? And that's why
yes,
you have given this comment which is quite chilling, right? So please just structure
yes.
your answer, because this question has own answers. Students have their own answers in the B part, so you can write your own possible answer and that would be respected.
Okay. Um, as a reader, I know what's going to happen next. Because and it said in the passage that he didn't know that he didn't feel anything because it said in because The writer didn't feel anything, and it said, because it said that he was excited.
Exactly. Okay, now let me just move on to question number five. Please read out question number five now.
Okay. Look at the final sentence of the extract. What kind of sentence is this?
Yes, what kind of sentence is this? It means that they are asking you that what is this sentence, whether it's having a clause. So the answer is going to be this is a single clause. You will be writing this is a single clause short sentence. This is a single clause short sentence. This is the only answer you're going to write for A part because it's a single clause short sentence. There is no details in it. Ask. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so Faris, have you written the answer or would you like to
Yes.
look up? What have you written in the B part? Please just tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to structure the answer in an appropriate manner for you.
Okay. The reader, to let the reader,
No, no, the writer.
uh,
First, you need to explain the writer. What is the writer? Why has he done this? I think the writer you're going to write is from the question.
okay. Um, I think the writer structured the sentence this way, maybe to let the reader make the last sentence funny or like interesting.
No, it's not that funny because it's actually appropriate. It emphasizes the cruelty and harshness of the cold humans. Okay, let me just write it. You will get in, the details of it. Never we can write, it is never comical, never funny. It's a very serious extract. There is nothing such humorous and funny in it. There's nothing comical in it. So I think the writer decided to structure structure the sentence in this way this way for maximum impact. He actually wanted to give a maximum impact to the readers. The cold is deadly in the sea, and that's right, the cold is deadly in the sea. This we can easily identify through the icebergs. And we know that we have watched the Titanic too, so we are quite aware about it. The description, so you'll move to words like that. Bear me with my handwriting because I'm left with last 3 minutes. That's why I'm writing quite quickly. So the description bitterly, bitterly seems appropriate, right? Appropriate, comma, as it emphasizes, as it emphasizes I'm not having any space here, so I'm going to write it up. Emphasizes. Emphasizes. I'm going to move up now. From here, I will be moving towards here. Okay. Emphasizes the cruelty and harshness of the cold to humans. Of the cold to humans. Okay, that's why I was speaking in between like that so you can understand my handwriting goes down. Also, I can move up. Okay, so I think the writer decided to structure the sentence in this way for maximum impact. The cold is deadly in the sea. The description bitterly seems appropriate as it emphasizes the cruelty and harshness of the cold to humans. Got it? This was all from
Yes.
my side for us. Now I would like to assign you a task regarding that. Let me just see what task you got from the school. So we will be moving on towards the activity number two, and I would like you to do the activity number two by yourself. Let me present my screen. Write an account describing your experience. Before you start writing, plan your writing by gathering all the ideas you could include. It is going to be an account writing which you're going to write. Or what you can do is, do you know how to write an account? Imagine that you're on a ship traveling over the ocean. You're woken in the middle of the night. You can hear voices. You realize that the ship is sinking. So now you're going to write an account describing your experiences. And you have to follow
Okay.
this whole path writing it. So this is your assigned task for the activity number 2. All right. So here I'm ending up my session. I hope you have understood in detail the activity number one. And please send me the picture of your work. Take care. Allah
Okay.
Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay, thank
teacher.
you.
Bye.
You're welcome.